Hey, it's Scott once again, and yeah, still on the road, and thought I'd come to you again from the road with another short video. And this one also comes from a quote, like the last time probably the last time, depends upon how I publish these, but last time I talked about a quote on Colin Cowherd's show from a guy named Mark Schlereth from the NFL. This one comes from former NFL Dallas Cowboys head coach Jimmy Johnson, who was just inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. And Cowherd asked him about the concept of leadership, just kind of what he thought leadership was. And I love this response. Jimmy Johnson said, well, you know, I always struggled to define what leadership is, but I know this. Troy Aikman had it. And if you know Troy Aikman, he was one of the all-time great quarterbacks the Cowboys ever had, and was one of the all-time great quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. Now just a great analyst for the Fox broadcasts of football games. And Jimmy Johnson's quote, or his statement, is so telling. Leadership is one of those really difficult ones to really define. There's so many different definitions out there. I just spoke a few nights ago at a school, and the talk was on how to lead. And I started with that quote, that concept, because I said there's thousands of books and articles and videos and you name it on leadership out there, all with their own take on the concept, all with different ideas. Now, there's certainly some undercurrents that you'll find in all of them, and there are certainly some characteristics and traits that you see in great leaders time and time again, but there's still so many different ideas on exactly what leadership is. And so when Jimmy Johnson said, yeah, I'm not totally sure how I would define it, but I know Troy Aikman had it, it's that classic case of hard to define. You know it when you see it. And you also know it when you don't see it. And so the concept of leadership is something that all of us in any kind of a leadership role need to study. And we need to try and figure out, okay, what is it that makes great leaders great leaders? And you're never going to come up with any one thing, but you will find a variety of traits and characteristics that I think run through so many of them. One of the things I started with that night was I told it was for athletes and their coaches. I said, I want you to think of the greatest leader you've ever known in your life. What traits, what characteristics did they have? And I said, because if you want to be a great leader, start with those characteristics and traits. Because if you felt that those things made them great leaders, well, there's a great chance for you to go, okay, if I can embody those as well, I'm on at least the start to becoming a leader. But then you start looking at other great leaders and you talk to others about it. Right? And I think that's a critical component to leadership and becoming the best leader you can be. I'm going to come back with the next video. I'm going to kind of pick up on this point a little bit more and talk about the other side of leadership, because so often when we talk about leadership and leaders, we're talking about the ones who lead. But it's really hard to be a leader if you don't have people being led. And so I'm going to talk about that in the next one. We will talk to you then.